Welcome back to our ISA IEC 62443 exam mock test series. If you have been following along, I already covered some important topics from the 62443 standard, but this time we are moving forward with ISA IEC 62443 Design Specialist mock test. So this is specifically for those who are preparing for the Design Specialist certification, which focuses on the designing secure industrial control systems. And just to be clear, this is not the actual exam question, but a set of carefully designed questions to help you test your understanding of the concepts. And think of it as a way to practice and get comfortable with the kind of topics you might see in the real exam. So if you are aiming for the design specialist certification, you are in the right place. So let's get started. In this session, IC34 exam, first we'll go over a quick syllabus overview so you have a clear understanding of what topics covered in the exam. Then we will highlight the priority sections, key module to focus. Then we have a jump into the practice questions where I'll present a question, give you some time to think, and then we'll go through the correct answer along with the brief explanation. So this will help you to get a feel for the types of question you might face and ensure you are well prepared. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. The views and information shared in this video are purely for educational purposes and reflect my personal insights, not those of any organization or entity I am affiliated with. This content is created out of passion for OT security and should not be considered as a professional advice. While I strive to for the accuracy, I encourage you to do your own research and consult any other consult experts for specific guidance. Let's get started. Now let's take a look at the IC34M syllabus overview. It's called IACS Cybersecurity Design and Implementation. IC34M is the training module. It's a self-paced modular course focuses on the activities associated with the design and implementation of industrial automation and control system. The course length is 10 modules and provides a zero point 0.7 CUs upon completion. To take this course, you must have already passed, IC32 exam, that is Cybersecurity Fundamental Specialist exam, and some of the key area which includes in this particular IC34M training is cybersecurity requirement specification, security level determination process, remote access solution, hardening specification, IDS, and you will be covered with CFAT, CSAT, and all that. And the course is broken down to into 10 modules. Here are the listed down the you know and even you can I have shared the link in the video description. You can go through that. You will get more details on this particular modules, right? And the most important thing is this course is very designed to give a comprehensive understanding of designing and implementing cybersecurity measures in IACS environment. So I have prioritized the module wise, like where to focus more, but make sure that you cover everything pin to pin from module 1 to module 10. So at least one or two times you revise everything, but where to give little more importance for some of the prioritized section, which we will cover in the next slide. Now let's talk about priority section for IC34 exam. I already categorized the modules into different priority levels like P1, P2, P3, so on, and to help you focus on the most important areas first. And P1 topics are high priority and should be studied in detail as they are crucial for the exam. And P2 topics are moderate priority, meaning they are still important but might not be as heavily weighted in the exam. P3 topics are lowest priority, meaning they are foundational but they may have fewer direct exams. But that doesn't mean that you should avoid any topics, right? So this is just to give you an idea that okay, where to focus more. So but my only suggestion is at least cover point to point from first slide to the last slide for of your note set. Don't leave any pointers open. Please make sure that you cover all the module 1 to module 10. Okay, so here also I have already highlighted like intrusion detection system is priority one, system hardening, access control, remote access, and CFAT and CSAT role of the integration provider. So make sure that you cover point to point. Okay. Now let's move on to the practice question to test your understanding. I'll be presenting this each question along with four answer options. Take a few seconds to think about your answer before I reveal the correct one, and after that, I will provide a brief explanation to help you understand the concept behind it. And remember, these questions are designed to help you get familiar with the exam topics, not the actual exam question. So treat this as a learning exercise to strengthen your understanding of the this exam. So let's get started with the first question. So question number one, what defines the parameters of what is included in the assessment and the method used to conduct it? Your options are vulnerability, scope, threat, and documentation. So think of it, which one? So here is the key point is what in the assessment and the method used to conduct it. Parameters of what is included. So the right answer is scope. Why? So the scope sets the boundaries of the assessment, defining what is included, how it is conducted. So it ensures your clear focus and structured evaluation. Why not others? Vulnerability state, it's a weakness found within the assessment, not what defines it within the boundaries. And threat is a potential risk but does not set assessment parameters, right? And documentation, obviously it supports the process but does not define it. So the phrase parameters of what is included is the key hint in this particular question. Question number two, which key component of a project scope is most directly responsible for determining appropriate security restrictions based on data movement within an IACS environment? So what we are talking about, security restrictions based on the data movement. So your options are asset inventory, network diagrams, documentation of data flow, criticality assessment. So please read carefully about the question. So the key pointer is security restrictions based on the data movement. So that points to documentation of data flow. And this particular document of this track how data moves within the system. Why not others? Asset inventory. This lists the system component but does not analyze data movement. And network diagram, yes, it shows the connection but not the data flow details. And criticality assessment identifies important assets but does not define any security restrictions based on the data movement. So hence the correct answer is documentation of data flow. Question number three. Which of the following best explains why a cybersecurity vulnerability assessment must include an evaluation of IACS operation and management in addition to its design and configuration? So what we are talking about, it's a cybersecurity vulnerability assessment. Your options are to ensure that security policies are properly documented for compliance audits, because operational and managerial processes directly impact how security measures are enforced and maintained over time. And third option is to confirm that all vulnerabilities are documented and shared with external stakeholders. And because the design and configuration of an IACS remains static while operations are the only dynamic aspects of security. So here what we are talking about is the in a vulnerability assessment, but the thing is in addition to its design and configuration. Okay, so in addition, so hence the correct answer is B. Why B? Because security is not just about design. It requires ongoing enforcement, monitoring, and updates. And so the first option is the the compliance audit. Documentation is very important. Okay, but the audits alone don't ensure your security effectiveness. And the this vulnerability documentation is for internal improvement, not just external sharing. And the last one, what we are talking about here is both design and operation chain, making security management essential. So here we are talking about static versus dynamic operations, right? Hence the correct answer is B. Question number 4. Which key concept of scope details a list of all elements in a system? Options are asset inventory, criticality assessment, network diagram, system architecture diagram. So this is pretty straightforward, you know, question. Sometimes you can expect straightforward questions, and some are trickier. So make sure you, if you observe, all of my questions are from the first and second module so far. Okay. So and more questions will, I mean, in the real exam, there will be mix and match between your different modules, like module 1 to module 7 or module 10. So the right answer is asset inventory, because asset inventory provides a detailed list of all system elements, including your device, hardware, software, virtual machines, everything. So why not others? Criticality assessment. So this is the evaluates asset importance but does not list all elements. Network diagram shows the connections between devices but not a full inventory. And system architecture diagram, it describes system design, not a detailed component uh, list. So here the element is what they are asking in the question is key phrase is list of all elements. Okay, so hence the answer is asset inventory. Question number 5, which is not a benefit of cybersecurity risk assessment. So what we are asking is not a benefit. Define threat vulnerabilities and consequences. Design and apply countermeasures. Prevents audit by documenting procedures. So prioritize activities and resources for mitigation. So what is the correct answer? C is the correct answer. The reason is cybersecurity risk assessment to identify the risk and mitigation strategies, but it does not prevent audits. So audits are necessary process to ensure your compliance and security effectiveness. Why not others? Because it's a benefit defined. That is what is part of the cybersecurity risk assessment, like threat vulnerability, design and apply, and priorities, activities, and resource for mitigation. All these are part of cybersecurity risk assessment. So hence the answer is C. Question number 6. Why should you partition the system under consideration into zones and conduits when conducting a cybersecurity risk assessment? So here what we are talking about the zones and conduits when conducting a cybersecurity risk assessment. Options are to determine the security level target, that is SLT, to practice by repeating the process for each and zones and conduit, to ensure the best possible protection, to determine the residual cyber risk. So what is the right answer? Answer is security level target. The reason is partition the system into zones and conduits. It help you determine these appropriate security level targets, SLT, for each segment based on the risk assessment and production needs. So why not others? To practice by repeating the process is i- you know the process not just for practice. It's a key part of the structure security design to ensure the best possible protection. Yes, while zones and conduits improve the security, but its main goal is uh, you know defining SLT rather than just the general protection. And the residual risk assessment identify the risk, but zoning primarily helps defining any security levels to mitigate them. So here the in the question, if you see the trick, the phrase when conducting a cyber security risk assessment hints at your security level target determination, not general security practice. Question number 7. Which of the following is not a type of cybersecurity vulnerability assessment used in IACS, Industrial Automation and Control System? So what we are asking is not a type of cybersecurity vulnerability assessment. High level assessment, passive vulnerability assessment, firewall configuration assessment, pen testing. So this is pretty straightforward question. So the answer is firewall configuration assessment, because it's a security review but not classified as a vulnerability assessment. So high level, yes, we identify the gap in security policies or practice, and then in passive vulnerability assessment, we detect a vulnerability without actively scanning. And pen testing, it simulates the real world attacks to identify any security weakness. So here the phrase is not a type of cybersecurity. So read carefully and answer the question. Question number 8. Which vulnerability assessment method utilizes automated network scanning tools to identify potential security weaknesses but does not attempt to exploit them, making it unsuitable for production environments. So your options are passive, high level, active, and pen testing. So if you read out carefully, utilizes automated network scanning tools and also making unsuitable for production. And we know that, so the right answer is active vulnerability assessment. The reason is, uses this active vulnerability assessments uses automated scanning tools to detect any security weaknesses but does not exploit them like pen testing, because it actively interacts with a network. It can disrupt any production system, so that it making unsuitable for production environment. So passive means without any automated actively scanning tools, and high level it is just a passive method. And pen testing, we are exploiting it, right? Actively exploit the vulnerability to test any defenses. So it goes beyond your any simple scanning. Question number 9. Which essential documents must be maintained and formally approved as part of IACS cybersecurity risk assessment? So what we are talking about is the cybersecurity risk assessment, and also it should be approved. So your options are incident response plan, network traffic logs, firewall rules, cybersecurity requirement specification, vulnerability report, zone and conduit diagram, employee access logs, system backup schedule, software patch records, risk mitigation strategy, system maintenance logs, and security awareness and training records. So I am reading it fast. So I mean, anyways, it is visible to you. Please have a look. And if you want to read it slow, just use the speed methodology in YouTube algorithm and go in your own pace, right? So the right answer is cybersecurity requirement specification. So the answer is CRS vulnerability report, zone and conduit diagram. The reason is, these are critical document for risk assessment and mitigation in IACS environment. The first one, incident response plan. These are all important for operation, but not core document in the risk assessment. This access logs, system backup schedule or software patch records. These are all related to security management, but not directly part of risk assessment document. And system maintenance, security awareness, training records. Yeah, some part are yes, but these are all support the cybersecurity efforts, but not the primary risk assessment documents. So here the phrase is formally approved as part of cybersecurity risk assessment. Question number 10. Which of the following best describes the primary purpose of a system architecture diagram in an industrial automation and control system? So what we are talking about here, primary purpose of a system architecture diagram. Options are to provide a high level summary of cybersecurity policies and procedures, to list all network devices and their IP address for inventory purposes, to visually represent all system elements, their location, how they are interconnected, ensuring accuracy and updates when needed, to document the organization's cybersecurity compliance and regulatory adherence. So the right answer is C. So the reason is, it represents all the system elements, their location. So system architecture's main goal is to represent visual representation. And high level cybersecurity policies, these are all policies are documented separately, so not in a system architecture diagram. This to list network device and their IP address is, these are all asset inventory, but the architecture diagram show how they connect. And compliance documentation, these are all, it is not a visual representation. The security, it supports compliance. System architecture diagram supports compliance. So the key phrase is how they are connected and the primary purpose of a system architecture diagram. Okay. Question number 11. Which security level in the 62443 standard or framework requires protection against intentional violations using sophisticated means, extended resources, IACS specific skill, and high motivation? SL1, SL4, SL3, SL2. So security level 1432. So here, the important point is, if you remember, uh, or memorize that security, different security levels, like means, resources, specific skills, and the motivation factor, then you can easily answer. Um, you can expect at least two questions from this particular uh, slide. So the right answer is SL4. Because here we are talking about the sophisticated means, extended resource, IACS specific, high motivation. Okay, so please remember that uh, make sure you know each and every differences, like SL1. It is protection, protect only against the accidental or casual violations. SL2 is nothing but your defend against intentional threats with low resources or generic skills. So likewise, it will go. Question number 12. If an industrial automation and control system has an unmitigated risk factor of 20 and tolerable risk factor of 5, and what is the cyber risk reduction factor, in short CRRF? So this is also pretty straightforward formula. If you remember, CRRF is nothing but your unmitigated risk divided by tolerable risk. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. So either you will get a direct question, like in a different way, but the topic on CRRF topic, definitely it will be part of the exam. Make sure you understand the formula and also certain elements related to CRRF, which is covered in the syllabus. So please make sure you give little bit attention to this particular topic. Question number 13. Which of the following are the four primary approaches to mitigating the risk, commonly referred to as the 4 T's? Tolerate, transfer, trim, treat, or terminate, transform, tolerate, transfer, terminate, treat, threaten, treat, transfer, track. So this is a little bit trickier, but if you remember some of the common topics related to risk assessment, then easily you can answer. Even in this particular topic, you can easily expect uh, two questions. Okay, so the right answer is tolerate, transfer, terminate, and treat. Okay, just a minute. Yeah. So why? Because tolerate means accept the risk if it is within the acceptable limits. So the transfer is, shift the risk to a third party. Terminate means you are eliminating the risk by stopping the activity. And treat, implement any security measure to reduce the risk. So here the confusing words are trim. Usually this is not a recognized risk treatment strategy or something, and transform instead of treat. So that is also does not apply it for any risk mitigation. Threaten and track, yes, these are not risk mitigation strategies. So make sure you uh, memorize this 4 T's. An organization decides to outsource its cybersecurity monitoring to a third-party service provider instead of managing it internally. So, which risk mitigation strategy does this represent? So, if you understand the meaning of each of these four, you can easily answer. So, the right answer is transfer. So, the right answer is transfer because uh, transferring means what? It's we are shifting the responsibility to a third party, such as outsourcing cybersecurity monitoring to external provider or getting insurance coverage. So the risk still exists, but at least another entity manages it. So the next question is question number 15. What are the two key factors that determine the relationship between CRRF and SLT in an organization? Your options are asset inventory, vulnerability assessment, network architecture and cybersecurity policies, risk matrix and risk tolerance, compliance requirement and system configuration. So think over it. Where we are covering this particular topic, CRRF and target security level, obviously it is part of risk assessment. So the right answer is risk matrix and risk tolerance. So here asset inventory and the vulnerability assessment important for risk analysis, but don't define any CRRF and SLT. Network architecture and cybersecurity policies, these influence security implementation, but don't set any risk reduction factors. And compliance requirement is help meet standard but does not directly establish any CRRF and SLT. Yeah, that's it for this mock test one. I hope these questions help you in 62443 Design Specialist exam preparation. So wish you all the best. But we are not done yet. More questions are coming in the next two mock tests. So if you found this helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and so you don't miss any next test. So you support, your support really helps me bringing more valuable content your way. So stay tuned for mock test 2, and I'll see you in the next one.